Today I'm going to show you the single most important diagram in the world for any adult beginners who are learning to play guitar. Now, I know that's a pretty big thing to say, and let me explain why. It's because this diagram really explains why you might be getting stuck with your playing. So where the actual bottleneck in your playing is, where the issues are that you may be getting frustrated with, what is causing that, and what to do to move forward from it and overcome it. It's a very simple diagram. You'll see here, this is really built around the flow of water. It's moving in the direction of the red arrow out of the tap, down into the pipe, and the aim is for it to flow all the way down. When the water gets actually out of the pipe and flows, in a reasonable volume, and that's the point where when it leaves the pipe, that we're actually playing songs. Now, if that doesn't make sense at this stage, don't worry, because I'm going to go through it step by step and clarify this. But first, I wanted to show you why I really visualized it in this way. So there I was, running the bath for my 1-year-old daughter, Tulin, and this kind of came into my head while I was waiting for putting the duck in, making sure that the duck measures the temperature of the water, making sure it's the right temperature for her. Here's her in some water, not in the bath, but swimming. Also, she's becoming a keen musician. She started having a go with some percussion and also picking up the piano, which is nice. And she's going for the guitar as well, trying to take it here off Ben, who's a fellow guitar teacher that I work with. So the diagram, this is how I came up with it. But I've been using these core principles in my teaching now for well over 10 years. I mean, I've been teaching for close to 20 and refining things on the way, but this come into place kind of midway through. So what we're talking about here is really we're focusing on bottlenecks or constraints. So it's kind of an engineering way of looking at things. It's super useful for the guitar. So what we've got here is the tap comes on, and the most important thing from the very beginning is that we actually have, of course, a flow of water. And the flow of water in your guitar practice, your guitar progress is really that you're picking the guitar up on a daily basis. Okay, if you're picking the guitar up once or twice a week, you don't really have enough kind of flow, enough volume of sort of momentum visualized by the water to necessarily make progress. Now, you don't have to carve out huge amounts of time. We're looking at just 5, 10, if you can do 20 minutes on a daily basis, then that's enough. That would represent a solid flow of water. So from the start, if you're not picking it up on a daily basis, you're picking it up once or twice a week, we've pinpointed the bottleneck already. Okay, you don't have to look for big chunks of time, but picking it up frequently on a daily basis, at least once a day, it's going to be the first bottleneck that we come to, the first challenge to overcome. Now that one's pretty straightforward. I think no one thinks that they can play guitar in 10 minutes or they can learn to play guitar by only picking it up once a week. I know there's some books that claim that and some different people that claim that, but let's stay away from that stuff for now. What we're really talking about here is where the blockages can come in progress. And that's why I'm sort of using this water idea. You can see there's different sections of the pipe. So there's the flow of daily practice here. There's this first section which is represented by learning chords and playing them cleanly. The next section is the actual changes between the chords and being able to quickly change between chords fluidly. And then there's the other hand with the strumming. So actual rhythms, getting fluid and consistent strumming, the pick not spinning around, that kind of stuff, just the whole picture of strumming. And then the next step is really the coordination of your both hands. So you're bringing those things together, the clean chords and the changes and the strumming, in order to get them both working together. And that really, the product of that, the next thing that comes from that is playing songs. It's all the things in place. So let's look at some of the bottlenecks where we may get stuck with your progress, where you may be stuck with your progress now. Of course, one of the great things about this diagram is everyone's in a different situation, and this will work and kind of be a kind of way of viewing things where when the bottleneck moves and when you make progress in your guitar playing and something else becomes the thing that's holding you back, because that's often the case. It's not just one thing that we need to develop and then suddenly you can play all the songs you want to. The challenges move, and this approach really helps that. So let's have a look at, for example, we've covered daily practice. That's great. we're practicing on a daily basis. Okay, 10 minutes a day, fantastic. It's good enough to make reasonable progress. The way I've outlined the diagram at the moment, you'll see that the water is flowing into the practice. It's flowing into clear or clean chords, but it's starting to sort of run off. It stops working when we get to chord changes. So this is somebody who really, what they need to be doing in their playing to get the end result, playing songs, is not to be working on practicing more, which people sometimes believe is the answer. It's not to be learning more volume of chords or getting those chords cleaner, if they're clean enough already to, to sort of fill this part of the pipe. What we need to do in this situation really is focus and develop an ability to change quickly, fluidly between chords, okay? Between the things. So we've got some chords clean here, but we're not getting the changes between them fluid enough to be able to play a song with them. So that's our sort of the bottleneck with this issue. So if you are in this situation, you're spending your time learning more chords, it's not going to help. It's going to be a waste of your time. In fact, there's only ever one kind of blockage at any point in time to somebody who's playing. So spending your energy and your time on any other area of your playing is a waste of that time and energy. Okay. Now, and this is how people learn to play guitar well, with 10, 20 minutes practice a day, without, hours and hours, because we're focusing just on the bottleneck. We release that bottleneck, we make a big leap forward in terms of progress, the bottleneck moves to another place, and we develop that. We're not spending our time doing a little bit of everything, which is not moving us forward. So let's say that the bottleneck was with the clean chords. You're picking up the guitar every day, and you can't play the chords clean, but you're cruising around on YouTube, you're having a go at loads of different songs. You want to learn to play songs, that is the ultimate goal, of course. And you're having a go following video lessons and stuff. They don't break down the individual techniques behind the songs. They move pretty fast, they make it look really easy. And so it seems like what we need to be doing is jumping in and learning a song and developing a song and learn to play through that. But if we haven't even got the chords clean, that's not going to come together. Without the clean chords, there's no point in changing between them until they're relatively clean. There's no point in developing our strumming. There's no point in developing a coordination between your both hands. And we're not quite at the stage where we're really going to be able to play a song, so it's going to cause frustration. So that would be the sort of second stage. Third up, you might be in a situation where you're having a go at playing songs, you're trying to make it all go together, but you can only do it very slowly. When you go faster, it kind of falls apart because you're limited. The bottleneck in your playing is your ability to change chords quickly and smoothly. Chords are clean on their own, but they're not coming fluidly and quickly. So spending your time on trying to put the whole picture together and strum at that point isn't going to be the most effective use of your time. At that point in time, we really do want to speed up those chord changes, and it can be done in a very step-by-step, a very systematic way. It depends a lot on the particular choice of chords that we're learning and what we're going to be able to change between. It's best not to treat all of the chords equally, jump in and learn a ton of open chords, because it's not the best use of your time or energy. We want the chords that are going to sound good, be used in lots of songs. We're going to be able to change between them relatively quickly and build the dexterity in our fingers to do that, so that we can then move on to strumming. We can get playing songs much sooner. So if we're in that situation, we do really want to speed up the changes between the chords before we spend the bulk of our time on songs. Okay, so that would be the kind of bottleneck there with the chord changes. If the bottleneck is strumming, it's kind of obvious, but a lot of people who have the strumming with their bottleneck, like they when you get the situation in a rhythm where you've got two up strums in a row and it's hard to do, it sort of throws you off. Jumping in to try and play a whole song with that rhythm, changing chords, strumming at the same time, and trying to piece together the song, that's going to be overwhelming, when what we need to do is forget about the chord changes, forget about the song, and just learn the consistency of strumming on its own and develop that, kind of break that bottleneck. That's kind of the strumming bottleneck. So if we're not focusing on that, we're going to get frustrated and we're not going to know why the song doesn't sound like it does. Maybe every song we play, we use that same old standard rhythm that we always use. And so that outlines this kind of bottleneck, where what we really need to be doing is branching out in terms of what we can do rhythmically, isolating that one element and getting comfortable with that before we do anything else with our playing. And next up, it's the coordination of both hands. So obviously we're not going to spend time, or it wouldn't be wise to spend time trying to coordinate both hands and get them moving when you can't strum a particular rhythm. Okay, we can't strum the rhythm we need to use for the song. We're not going to go to this stage. It's not worthwhile. So jumping in, looking at song lessons, having a go at it, it might be that you're trying to coordinate the two hands. It's all falling apart because we don't have, this piece of the puzzle in place. Okay, so if you're at this stage where we definitely want to develop an ability to coordinate both hands, then learning tons and tons of chords on their own isn't going to help you get to playing songs any quicker. It's not going to help you crack any songs at all. You're going to be in that period of time before you can play songs for a much longer period of time, which is a frustrating situation to be in. If you're spending all your time trying to learn to change between chords that are possibly too challenging for the level that you're at, and all you're doing is working out chord changes, when what we really need to be doing is coordinating both hands and playing songs, that's going to be not the best use of your time as well. It can lead to frustration because you're not going to be playing songs at the earlier stage and have the satisfaction and the proof to yourself that you can definitely do this. Okay, so it's kind of sequential. We partly want to do them in order, but really it depends where somebody is at any given time. When I see my students play, part of what we do, obviously they have this understanding of this, so they can see where they are at any given time, but also I pinpoint specific areas, identify the specific thing that needs to be worked on, where the bottleneck is. It's going to cause the biggest breakthrough to their playing. So this isn't just theory, this isn't just useful kind of for me, this is very useful for people learning to play guitar in terms of conceptualizing where you are with your guitar playing at any given time. We just want to work on that bottleneck because that's going to cause the most freedom, it's going to get us to playing songs, and it's going to get us to build our skills in a structured way. So that's what this diagram is really for, kind of visualization of how I go through that. Now, it's not just a theory, this is something I use day in, day out with my students. You can see on my YouTube channel here that what I also do, as well as the odd video talking about playing guitar and how to approach it, is I mainly interview my students and the people I've helped with their guitar playing. So it's worth having a look at how this kind of thing is applied, and it's really the proof in the pudding that this really works. So to show you a couple of things here. This is Neil Catterall. I did an interview of him recently, and using this kind of structured approach and my guidance, he's learned to play 25 songs in 12 months, which is terrific achievement, great progress. We've got Phil McGrath here. He gave up playing guitar before he came to me. He's learned to play 27 songs, how they're meant to sound. That's over the course of a year as well. Ian Bloomfield reached 20 to 30 songs, not sure the exact amount, over the course of a year. Simon Auger has hit 40 songs, and he went from what I call ground zero. And then finally, we've got Mark Aarons. This is a very recent one. I talked to Mark about his experiences. 50 songs over the course of a year. The reason I'm showing you these is sort of the proof in the pudding that this breaking kind of bottlenecks approach to learning to play guitar works extremely effectively. It's one of the tools that I use for my students in terms of how we visualize what to be doing and when. And obviously you can jump onto my YouTube channel and click around, hear these people's experiences and their stories. They often give advice of what to do when to somebody who was in the situation that they were as well. Okay, and there we go. So I'll just bring up the diagram one more time. So we're talking about breaking through the bottlenecks in your playing that's going to lead to the most progress as a beginner on the guitar. So first up, we need to be playing on a daily basis. We want to get our chords clean. We want to develop the changes between the chords fast and fluidly. And so it's also down to the amount of chords you're actually learning. You could be learning too many chords before you move on. Then it's getting the strumming comfortable, coordinating both hands in sync with each other. They're the skills we need and the building blocks really to get playing songs, rather than jumping into playing songs and experiencing frustration straight away. We actually get there faster and without frustration by a kind of structured approach to it. Okay, thanks.